Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Jimmy Yeomans. Tonight's video is going to be God judges Ahaziah, alright? And it has a lot to do with us today, okay, in our country and what happens when bad things happen, alright? And they could get better or they could get a lot worse. It all depends on what we do, okay? Because God judges his reaction. He judges us off of what we do, alright? But this is coming from 2 Kings, and it says, this is 2 Kings chapter 1, and it says, Moab rebelled against Israel after the death of Ahab, okay? So Ahab was notorious for letting idols go everywhere. So nobody in the town really was with God, okay? Although they were mixed in with God's so-called people, most of those people's faith were real weak like ours is today, all right? And Moab was just a group of people, all right, that did not believe in God. They were not Israelites. They were Gentiles, okay? They were not God's people, but they lived there with God's people, kind of like today, how we got a certain, bunches of groups of people who are not God's people, okay, who are rebelling against our government. All right, and it says, now Ahaziah fell through the lattice of his upper room in Samaria and was injured. So this guy has seriously injured himself, okay? And so he sent messengers and said, go inquire of Baal's above. All right, so he, instead of going to God, sends messengers when he gets hurt or when something bad has happened. All right, now he is the king, all right, of that area. Now, if the king of that area is so daggum far off from God that he don't even know that he should inquire of God, but goes to some other king that ain't even really, some other God that ain't even really a God, you know that country's in trouble. All right, just like our country, all right, our daggum political leaders are so detached from the truth of the word that they don't know which way to go, right way, up, left, right, or down. Now, I do back Trump up. He's about the only one that I like. All right, you can I like Trump. All right, now, but that pissed God off, okay? And God sends a daggum angel down there and tells the angel to go tell Elijah, all right, to go back and ask them, is there no God in Israel? The reason why y'all are trying to daggum ask of this thing, and because you did this, and you will surely die. All right, so God's judged him at that point when something bad has happened to this man. All right, and you got kids all out there in the daggum streets that are rebelling against you and stuff, and you go to seeking some other God and you ain't even there. You already judged. And that doesn't necessarily have to be the king, okay? That could be anybody. If you are detached from God, okay, and something bad happens in your life that could potentially get better or it could potentially lead to death, and you go to daggum hunting out something else, like, oh, I could just work harder, or I could daggum, involve myself in my kids and just put myself in my kids full time and not have to worry about, things will get better and think that things are going to get better. I got news for you, okay? Now, Elijah, the king, starts asking, now, who was this that sent you back here? So these messengers go right back to him, all right? And he says, well, what are you doing back here? And he says, well, we run into a messenger of God. All right, and he said to tell you, is there no king in Israel? The reason why you hunting out them other gods, and to tell you that you surely gonna die. And he said, well, who told you that? And they said, a hairy man with a leather belt. And I like that because it shows that spiritual leaders are usually gonna be kind of awkward. I'm awkward to most people because they've been conformed to the world, and I'm spiritual, so I'm counter to them. But John the Baptist was eating locusts and wild honey. All right, now you see here, when things are bad, okay, you gotta daggone seek out God. And that's the way that we need to be handling the situations that's going on. Our cities, our streets, the violence, the people rebelling against the government. Things are bad, okay? But they could potentially get better or they could get a lot worse depending on what we do.